Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again. And today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. And, well, this is not the video I expected to make on this early Sunday morning, but Marvel Snap has been temporarily banned in the United States. So, what happened here? If you haven't been keeping up with the news, the TikTok ban just went into effect. And as it turns out, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, also owns Nuverse, who publishes Marvel Snap, and I think also was responsible for running the servers for the game. So yeah, woke up this morning, logged into the game, and got greeted with this. Marvel Snap is temporarily unavailable in the US. This outage is a surprise to us and wasn't planned. Marvel Snap isn't going anywhere. We're actively working on getting the game up as soon as possible, and we'll update you once we have more to share. So, they were very clearly not planning for this to happen. Seen a lot of people asking, hey, why wasn't there any notice about this? Like, why'd you guys just put up a bundle the other day and now the game is taken down, etc., etc. And according to Mr. Benjamin Brode here, this is not something they were aware of. This is not something they were given a heads up on. They found out about it at the same time we did, so can't imagine it is the most fun to be working at second dinner on a Sunday morning right now. So why is all of this happening? Well, basically the TikTok ban finally went into effect last night, and from what I've heard, even though they don't technically have to stop the service, and a lot of US politicians have actually been like, no, wait, we're just kidding, guys, you can have a little bit more time to figure it out. Seems like they might just be doing this as a bit of a show of force, to be like, hey, here's some pressure on the government to, undo this thing that is going to negatively affect a lot of your citizens. So throwing, this popular mobile game in the ring as a little added bonus seems like a freebie. And there's been a lot of confusion I've seen over people on what's happening with Nuverse, the publisher of Marvel Snap. If you're not up to date on that, a while ago it was announced that ByteDance was going to be getting out of the gaming space because they just weren't seeing very much success in the space overall, and they were having trouble competing with other high-profile competitors, namely the Hoyoverse games like Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, etc. But yeah, so it was announced that they were going to be winding down their gaming operations, but that announcement was a while ago, and as far as I'm aware, Second Dinner and Nuverse are still working together. Nuverse is still the publisher. And so I've had a lot of people ask questions about that, and I think the TLDR on that is it's a big company. It takes a long time for them to wind things down, and out of all their gaming properties, Marvel Snap was the most successful by far, so it's probably going to be the last thing to end up closing down or getting sold off. Does that mean Marvel Snap is going to close down with it? No, they've said this a few times. Something's going to change there eventually, whether that be getting a new publisher, whether the publisher gets sold off to a different company. We don't know what's going to happen or when that is going to happen, but they've made it pretty clear that it is not something that is going to take the game down with it. It has been pretty funny, though, seeing the reactions on social media from a bunch of other content creators here, being like, well, hey, on the bright side, this is probably the most publicity Marvel Snap has gotten in like a year or longer. So that is true. A lot of people are talking about it because Marvel Snap seems to be the only like majorly big game that has been directly affected by this so far. Even though there are other big high-profile games that are owned under ByteDance, we don't really know the specifics of those games and their relationships and the power ByteDance has, but we do know they apparently have the power to take down the Marvel Snap servers. So what's going to happen as a result of this? I think there are a few things. One, a lot of people are going to take a quick trip to New Zealand, much like we saw during the Pokemon Pocket pre-release. VPNs are still a way to get around this. Even Ben Brode himself was on social media saying, hey, if you really want to get in, VPNs are a way to do it. So that's something you could consider if you really need to access the game. But I don't think it's going to be down for too long a period of time. If you're unfamiliar with what's going on with the TikTok stuff and the ban, it sounds like it is expected that when the new administration comes into power in the US this week, they're going to be extending more time for TikTok to get things figured out. We'll have to see what goes on with that. It's still a very up in the air situation because TikTok is obviously a very big and powerful social media platform. And understandably, they don't necessarily want to just sell that to someone to run it in the US. So the future is uncertain of what's going to happen long term, but it seems very likely that early this coming week, the ban is going to be removed again, and there'll be more time to figure it out. And I imagine the same thing will happen to Marvel Snap. But what is this effect going to have on the player base? And I think that's kind of the more interesting question to talk about. We are all kind of memeing on that, like, hey, we're getting all this free publicity and stuff, right? But I think this actually could be kind of damaging to the game, because all this free publicity isn't actually going to bring in a lot of new players. I just don't think that's going to happen. Maybe you'll get a few people who read an article and decide to try it out when it comes back, but most of the people are going to hear about this news while it is banned in the US, and then even if they want to check out the game, it's banned and it's not on the App Store, so you can't do that. By the time the news comes out that, hey, it's back, I don't think many of those people are going to be quite as interested, because they probably weren't super interested to begin with. It was just a quick hot topic in gaming news. But what about for all the people who play this game regularly and probably more importantly spend a lot of money on this game? Losing access to everything you have and paid for and all that on a live service game is not a new phenomenon. I mean, this is something you risk with pretty much every game that is based solely on a server that you don't have local access to. And it's just kind of, comes with the territory of live service games, but it's very, very rare you see the game actually kind of remind you that your tens or hundreds or thousands of dollars you've spent on this game can just be snapped away. Little Thanos snap and it's gone. And I think that usually causes some damage, even if they do get it up pretty quickly, because people realize like they're just paying for pixels, right? That they don't even own, that they just essentially have a license to access. And usually when people get reminded of that, it can lead to a increase in them not spending as much money on the game because of that, fear in the back of their mind that it's all temporary or it could be taken away at any moment. And now that fear is a lot more real because that is essentially what has just happened. It has been taken away in the blink of an eye, and that's just not really great. Especially so when it's coming at a time where there are a lot of players who have been a bit more down on the game, haven't been enjoying it quite as much. Maybe seeing this is the final straw that breaks the camel's back and gets some people to quit entirely. Who knows? It's going to be different for every person, but I think it's interesting to talk about and consider those possibilities a bit because they are very real. I'm sure a non-zero amount of people who see this, who maybe were a little bit on the rocks with the game to begin with, this is just their sign to say, all right, well, I guess I'm moving on from Marvel Snap. And even for the people who stick around, now you might be thinking twice, having this in the back of your mind the next time you go to buy a $20, $50, $100 bundle. The fact that it could just be gone super quickly and without you being able to do anything about it. That's just, the reality of the world we live in with live service games. It's nothing new here, but it's something that most people just don't really like to think about. You're enjoying this game, you're having fun with it, you're putting your time or your money or both into it. And it's just better to think about it in the moment rather than the eventual future of, well, I'm not going to have this forever. Eventually it's going to go away. But a situation like this really brings those thoughts and realities to the forefront, which I can't imagine is going to be a positive for Second Dinner. But yeah, that's the update. Marvel Snap currently banned in the US. There's some ways around it if you care to explore those via VPN stuff. The thing I guess I'll be interested to see is how long it takes for them to resolve this and what any possible compensation as a result of it will be. I do feel for the people working at Second Dinner because this kind of sucks for them. I can't imagine this is going to be something you're happy to see unexpectedly on a early Sunday morning when you otherwise wouldn't be working, and now you have to scramble to get it all figured out. It is a bit of a shame they got that pulled on them by ByteDance. And it is also a shame that the US government is trying to be this cartoony level of controlling. And it's kind of ironic in a way because one of the things that you always hear about is how, the Chinese government, they censor everything. And now we're seeing the effects of the US government trying to do the exact same thing. So yeah, real funny situation there overall. Definitely some pot calling the kettle black energy there. But yeah, I expect this to be handled fairly quickly. Who knows? If there are any updates on this to the contrary, I'll be sure to have them here. So stay tuned. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And drop your best meme about Marvel Snap getting banned. There have been some really funny ones. That's going to wrap it up for this video, though. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.